All right, let's give you now. This is a live look at Taipei, Taiwan, where tensions do remain high between China and Taiwan. Earlier today, Taiwan's foreign minister said China is using military drills to prepare for a possible invasion of that island. The foreign minister said in a press conference that China, quote, is conducting large-scale military exercises and missile launches, as well as cyber attacks, disinformation, and economic coercion in an attempt to weaken public morale in Taiwan, end quote. So joining us now to talk more about this, retired Army Major General William Enyart. General, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, Nichole.
All right, so we see that message from Taiwan. Could we be seeing a repeat of the strategy that Russia, of course, used earlier this year, ramping up their forces and holding drills before they invaded Ukraine?
Well, in that sense, it is a bit like what Russia did, but you've got a much different operational problem here. Russia, of course, immediately borders Ukraine, and Russia's ally Belarus immediately borders Ukraine. China, on the other hand, has a 100-mile stretch of ocean between it and Taiwan. So there's a different operational problem. What we've not seen so far is the buildup of amphibious ships or of armor or personnel that we saw happen with Russia. So I think a better question might be, is China beginning to prepare for Taiwan without going to the trouble of so they may well be preparing a blockade. And a blockade, of course, is technically an act of war, but it doesn't carry the disapproval, the international disapproval that an actual invasion would carry.
You know, General, your audio froze up just a little bit there. You know, that was going to be my next question, which I believe you touched on. You know, Taiwan officials are saying they believe China is preparing to invade. Do you think that an invasion is imminent at this point?
Not at this point, because they haven't done the logistical setup that's necessary. They haven't brought in the amphibious craft. They haven't brought the armor forward. They haven't brought the personnel forward that they would have to move across 100 miles of open ocean to invade. I think it's more likely they're setting up a blockade and try to starve Taiwan out by blockading the sea lanes.
So blockading versus invading.
I believe so. I think that's far more likely because there's far less international disapproval associated with blockading, although a blockade is technically an act of war. Remember, we blockaded Cuba in 1962 and prevented Russian ships from carrying more missiles into Cuba, which was technically an act of war, but Russia backed down.
All right. Well, we will certainly see what happens between China and Taiwan. General William Enyart, we thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.